This episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com. With over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off on your new account, just go to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER5. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Monty's Minutes, episode 30 for May 14th, 2013. I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching Gamebreaker TV. Of course, joining me as he does every single week is Mr. Monty Sharma. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Gary. How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Starting off the show with some more PAX footage like we did last week. Who are we talking to this today?
First up is Jeremy Adams, who used to be a disc jockey, and he got involved with a girl who was sick in hospital in Houston, and it ended up pulling him into, a game-centered charity. And we'll talk about how, thinking like a game developer sort of fits in everywhere. So why don't we roll that clip?
Go ahead. Hi, my name is Jeremy Adams. I'm with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals and the Extra Life program, and I got to Extra Life from games simply because someone very special in my life got me there, and her name was Victoria Edmond, and unfortunately she lost the battle to leukemia, and our gaming community rallied around her and her family, and I was just really inspired by that rallying cry that went out into the community and the effect that gamers had for her while she was still alive. And together we formed Extra Life, and as a way of tributing her life, and it's grown from a very small, humble group of gamers tucked off in a corner of the internet to a multi-million dollar, 170 hospital effort, and we're really, really proud of that. So that's how I made the leap from games to Extra Life.
Very cool stuff. Very, very, very cool story. Yeah, Extra Life is just, I mean, it's amazing what they've done in the past few years in the gaming community. I mean, you see it constantly, people on Twitch just raising money, and it's an awesome thing.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing. I got involved with it last year when a friend of mine said, hey, we're putting together a committee, can you come help? And I showed up, and people were asking, what was it that motivated you to come? Which sick child was it? It wasn't a sick child. It was Walter over there. He asked, I came. But once we got into it, the interesting thing that came out. So Jeremy goes through this path of being a DJ, meeting this girl who's sick, and who's a gamer, and he loves games, and just connecting to creating this charity and now he works for Children's Miracle Network, which is an awesome organization supporting children's hospitals all over the place. But, as we did the review this year, so we got together after the event, and we were sitting there talking about, well, how can we make more money next year? How do we raise more money? The interesting thing was the head of community from Turbine, Rich, I forget his name now, come back to me. But Rich, had done this thing with his fans, saying that, look, I've had this beard since I was 13. If we raise more money than anybody else, I'll shave the beard off. They were the #1 raisers there, right? So as we were talking, the thought was, look, what if we want to raise more money, we should gamify the charity. We should bring a game to it. So what if Rich puts out the challenge to all the community managers out there? So, our friend Linda Carlson from last week, Katie Postma from Game of Thrones, all of these different people, putting that challenge out and creating a game around raising money. That whole sort of thing drives behaviors, drives more money. And, as we started digging into it, it's like, yeah, that actually would be more engaging. It would bring more people in. And, to me, yes, there's the point of, this is a good and decent charity, and if you guys get asked, and we'll be talking about it more when we start raising for it, please contribute. It's a wonderful thing. But it's also the sort of thing where if you see how people start thinking about games everywhere, that it kind of draws you into that way of thinking. And that's just a good habit to be in if this is an industry you want to be part of.
Very, very cool stuff. Now, we also got a question here, follow-up from somebody. What's the setup on this?
This is another one of our PAX questions with, audience questions, and we'll answer it live here.
Currently, I am a product design engineer. I work in the medical device business. I love gaming, always have, and I want to be a part of the game industry. I want to help make games, and so I'm trying to find a way to use the engineering, project management, business skills I have to help indie developers make a great game.
Now, is he looking? Did you get the sense that he was looking to try and make a game or be in the game industry surrounded by the medical industry?
No. He just wanted to get into games in general, and he wasn't specific about it. But you make the excellent point of, okay, well, looking at medical simulation, looking at healthcare games, all of that sort of stuff is really interesting. I heard this thing on the radio the other day where they were talking about doctors now starting to recommend apps to patients because they know these apps drive behaviors because they've gamified elements of them. And they're trying to simplify the patient's choices because there's 40,000 apps in that category. So, when I meet somebody who's got expertise in a particular domain, my first thought is, okay, what can you do that is one step closer to games, but still close to what you do? So, medical simulation, this is going to be an exploding field. Like, he was talking about, he's on the device side. I went to a medical simulation conference in January. We were showing a game we built last year. And they've got all sorts of really cool and, really freaky hardware because they have all these mannequins built to simulate everything. And, whether it's a trauma wound from an explosion to giving birth, they're all over there. And
there's an app for that.
I've gone to computer conferences all my life. I'm used to walking into the room and seeing monitors. I am not expecting
mannequins.
To see an obstetrics setup ready to shoot a baby at me. It's like, what? So, but that whole field is booming. It is really neat, and it's ripe for some game thinking. There's a step there. But then when you turn around and say, okay, look, you're a decent engineer, you've got project management skills, he's got marketing skills, there's a lot of places in gaming where you've got the ability to come in not just at an entry level. Like marketing will hire people who understand messaging, who can get the story together. They like people who can talk to the engineers and can understand the technical stuff. All of those things help in shaping a message. We've talked about product management and how close it is to being a producer. There's a whole set of skills there as well. So it's really something that, he should start by investigating close to him because he'll learn, he'll see maybe he's got a chance to do something that could be a bit of a showcase to go to then a pure entertainment company and say, hey, I did this, we built a game to deal with this sort of medical issue, but, here's the skills I've learned and people will appreciate and respect that.
All right, first up this week on the question front, Max McKay asks, he says, do you think the way recent Kickstarters have been communicating openly with such a large number of people will change the way that NDAs are handled in the future? Great show as always, Max McKay. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a really interesting phenomenon. We've talked in the past on how, in 2 years leading up to the release of a AAA title or an MMO, lots of things changed during that process. And during that time, a lot of the closed beta crowd has signed an NDA which says we won't post, we won't talk about, we won't do anything related to this game. And you know, and they hold you to that until they get to the point of open beta and they open it up. But now things are getting very different. Is in Kickstarter, you know, you're going to hand the players a beta, but they're going to pay you and they're going to be part of your community, and that whole thing has changed how open people are. And so I think the biggest impact we're going to see is on the smaller games, so something that's going to get built in a year to 2 years, where being open, you know, there's no big deal. I think that the big AAA titles, they're still going to be locked down because the way they manage marketing and their marketing spend, they don't want stuff going out the door until they're ready. When you're doing a Kickstarter, you want all the hype you can handle.
Part of their marketing.
And, yeah, you know, I've had people tell me that, yeah, we're going to do a Kickstarter, not so much because we need the money, because we want the marketing. Yeah, okay, probably not the brightest move, but I understand what you're saying. And that's a big part of it. For Kickstarter, more and more, you know, what I hear and talking to people who've raised, you need to have something playable. You need to have a really good video. You know, you're going to spend a few $1,000s just putting together your Kickstarter campaign. So a lot of times when I meet people who are doing, you know, $4,000, $5,000 campaigns, it's like, you know, the effort you're going to put in to Kickstarter is probably going to be $6,000 or $7,000, both real cash and time and effort. If you're not raising more than that, you're actually losing money going to Kickstarter. So things to watch out for.
We've brought this up in the past. We can talk about this offline, but I got my Ouya.
Oh, did you?
I have an Ouya in my hands.
And how nice is it?
It's a paperweight. No, in their defense, so it's I'm reserving judgment. Everybody's been asking me what I think. I did an unboxing video of it to show it off. It's a great little, like, the design is really awesome. It's a really great design. I think we're 60 days out still about from even launch. So being an early Kickstarter, I got my copies, my unit really early. Right. But then if you really, so the thing with Ouya is, how can you really judge this until it gets into the hands of the wild, right? I mean, this was really a device all kind of centered around the programmers and people who are going to hack it and do all kinds of things. So until that kind of that community, whether it does take off or not, actually happens, I'm kind of reserving my judgment. So right now right now there's not a whole heck of a lot to do with it.
But you know, everything I've heard where somebody says we're going to launch this product and let people hack at it, they never end up with a lot of hacking. It's people who put out a product that makes sense, it works for some purpose, but it's open enough that people hack it. That's where you get all sorts of really cool hacking. You remember the Q cats, those barcode scanners shaped like a cat? They were.
Oh my God.
I think they might have even been serial port back in the day. You know, Wired shipped them out with the magazine. You could go in the Radio Shack and they'd give them to you. And they meant for you to sort of scan barcodes in magazine ads, and then it would take you to special content on the web. Well, all sorts of people look down and go, huh, you just gave away 3 million barcode scanners I can hack. And they started to do all sorts of cool things because, hey, it was there, it was well distributed, all that sort of stuff. You know, I think that's what leads to cool hacking.
Yeah, going to be interesting to watch that one. All right, next up from Wolfie Grey Wolves. It says, I was wondering, with the building popularity of cosmetic shops and player-made items, do you think designers and or artists might end up working on commission, or will player-created content become a larger norm? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. So, you know, 5-6 years ago, when Second Life was sort of at the peak of hype, and they are by no means dead. They make a lot of money. A lot of people are still in world doing whatever they do. They're enjoying it. They're having fun. But back in the day, there were people who were making, you know, $100,000 a year building islands and fabs and all that stuff, and a lot of sort of consulting companies and shops like that sort of took off because they had the skill set to do things in world. And so they were making a good bit of money. Now, the thing that happened with Second Life was the hype curve they were overhyped. And And then people said, oh, well, yeah, it's neat to have a virtual world, but it's hard to teach somebody who has never played games, never been in a virtual world, how to move around and to do things like that. So, we're going to go a different way with how we do sales presentations and meetings and things like that. And that hurt, their whole marketing. So there was a lot of real money there, and I'm going to say in the order of millions to tens of millions. Most of it going to a relatively small percentage of the people who are building and selling stuff in Second Life. Now, having said that, we're starting to see things where, geez, I don't know if this is public yet or not. All right, I don't know if it's public, and so I won't name names, but somebody talked about they're actually going to release their character models, which are, the 3D models, to their fan base and to whoever wants. You can create items for them, you can create new models, you can change all this stuff, and you can upload it into a store and make some money. And that's kind of neat. I think, again, you're going to see a little bit of a community there that sort of comes together and makes decent money. Now, the question was, hey, do you see artists moving to doing their work on commission? No. The core art for any game is going to be something that somebody's directed. You're going to pay them straight up to do it. Now, some of these artists may on the side say, oh, I'm going to make some outfits and throw them into the store. I'm sure companies will work out policies on that stuff, but at the core, you want to control that experience, so artists are going to be doing that. But it's going to be interesting as more games let players be a larger part of that game. I've been asked by, a half dozen people probably in the last 2 years who are in major MMO companies and other things like that about user-generated content. And sort of the thing everybody's trying to find is, how do we let users create inside of our game world into something that lives on its own so that the world is constantly growing at the rate users can? I mean, a lot of people talk about EVE Online, it's a great sandbox, and the players make that world. But, people want something a little more scripted, a little tighter, but how do we open it up to users? A lot of people poking at that, and, I think you'll see more and more opportunities to be part of that.
Yeah, and I think looking at Neverwinter being the most recently released pretty robust package with the Foundry is one to look at for anyone who's interested in that.
Yeah, and like the original Neverwinter there was just a great tool set there. I know a bunch of classes that use Neverwinter to teach level design. Here it is. Go ahead, perfect tool set.
All right, next up, this one from Jason P. He's got a two-part question. He says, I'm going to be 31 this year, and after trial and error, I decided to try and get into the gaming industry, having no to little experience in anything gaming related other than playing them. Here's the question. Is it too late to get into the business? That's part one.
Yeah, we'll just say no and move on.
There you go. We knew that answer was going to be no.
Yeah. There's about 20 shows that cover it.
Exactly. Part two of the question. For someone who wants to try their skill as a concept artist, would I need to make a 2D portfolio to include with my application and resume? My man's going for, and he's going for the gold. He's going for the big. I don't want to discourage anybody. When I see concept artist, you were talking about the top guy in charge of the art direction, but not the art direction, but the artist for most of these games. You're going for a hefty position.
So, and, that's the sort of thing of, if you're a real artist, so you have been doing art for a long period of time, you are really good at emulating styles, creating styles, visualizing things, absolutely. If you don't have any experience in the game business, though, what they're going to want to see in your portfolio is, show me things in different art styles. So, give me something that's done in a fantasy realm. Give me something that's sci-fi. Give me something that's cartoony or, that goes for realism. any of these different things, you're going to have to show the full range of your skills in those different ways. Because when an art director, a creative director is looking at your resume, their whole thing is, okay, this person can draw, fairies. That's nice, but, that's not the game we're building. That's not the style of art. I have no idea if this person can do anything else. And so the ability to do that range and showing that range really matters. I've talked to some hiring managers, and one of the things that, like, if you're targeting a few companies, if there's one that's in your town that you really want to do stuff that matches their art style. If they look at your stuff and say, wow, he's created something that actually would fit in our world today, then they're going to be willing to talk to you, be interested. If you can just draw, then it's like, we do this summer program where we bring in 20 students, and so we were going through the portfolios a couple of weeks ago. The student that sent me 5 to 10 drawings of essentially the same character, we have no idea what that person's capable of. Either they're fixated on this one character, or their skills are limited, or they just haven't done enough to have good pieces in a wider range. So you've got to show range to do that.
And we get this question a lot from a lot of artists out there, and I'm going to just share this because this is somebody that I was recently turned on to, and he's a concept artist for a lot of really top games. And here's you should check out his website and follow this guy because he's got a lot of great stuff on his blog. He does like all kinds of little things of showing you how he turns all kinds of characters. But this guy is one of the best. These guys been hired by everybody. This guy's doing like top stuff. I mean, here's like some sketch stuff he's doing for Dark Souls. This guy's one of the top guys out there. Like just you should definitely be looking at everything that these guys are doing and seeing what caliber they're doing. And like you keep bringing up, Monty, is look at the range. They're not, most of these guys are not one trick ponies. They have a certain style, but they're definitely worth checking that out. I just want to throw that out there because I just got turned on to his stuff and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, there's some really, really talented artists out there. And so you just really want to be part of that. You want to deliver on all fronts.
Monty Sharma, you can follow him on the Twitter at Monster, MONTSTER27. And of course, if you have questions for Monty, you can send them to Monty@Gamebreaker.tv. That's the email address. Send it in to Monty@Gamebreaker.tv. You can follow me at Gary Gannon on Twitter. Follow Gamebreaker TV at Gamebreaker TV. And we do this show every single week. So come back for more. You guys, you got to send in the questions. Send us the questions. Monty will answer them. You want to get in the industry? He's got the answers. So, Monty, always a pleasure. Have a great week. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for some more Monty's Minute.
See you, Gary.
See ya.